Good evening, everyone. How are you? Well, I hope. Hope it's not been too bad a week. One more week of being locked in. Joy for everyone, I'm sure. Good to see you all here, whoever's here already. A few people look at. Hi. Good, cool. Hello. Hopefully, a few of you have already made your way and found the picture quiz. I know I'll get bored of saying the same thing. I'm sure you're bored of me saying it over and again, but never mind. I'll repeat myself anyway. But yeah, follow the link and with the description for that. Cartoon characters this week to try and identify. But obviously it's the name of the cartoon character, not the cartoon that they're in. So the actual name of the cartoon character. Give it a few minutes for everyone to get themselves sorted, and then we'll get cracking for another week of this nonsense. Should anyone who have not seen this before, you might be new to this, just in case, if you're unfortunate enough to have stumbled across this thing, whatever it might be, just to explain again, it's just a quiz for fun. There's no need to keep score. You can only for your own personal pleasure. You can just write it down. You don't need to submit scores. You don't need to tell me the answers. I'll give you an answer. If you don't like the answer I give, that's up to you whether you take it or not. And yeah, all I ask is try not to put anything in the chat as far as answers go, so that it doesn't spoil anyone else's enjoyment of the quiz. And obviously keep anything you're saying there nice if you can. I know you probably want to call me all sorts of names, I imagine, but you know. So cool. Right, we'll give it a couple more minutes. Make sure you got yourself pen, paper, most importantly a drink. Talking of which, I need to say another thank you for my wine delivery again this week. I'm very appreciative of that. I'm not sure my liver's so appreciative, but who cares about that? We'll worry about that when it gets to it. But yeah, so you know you are. Thank you very much for that delivery again this week. It's very kind. Also, a thank you. None of the questions are in this week's quiz, but I have had somebody send me some quiz questions and some things to help out, which would look really useful actually. So, assuming we're going to carry on with this nonsense for a while longer, then they will come in very handy. So, if anyone else ever feels like they would like to submit a round or some questions, I mean, we can always I don't mind doing somebody else's round, and I'll play along as well. I won't look at the answers. I'll just sit here and read them out, and we'll play along together. And we can blame someone else for the terrible questions rather than me for a change. So yeah, but thank you again for those. That's cool. And if you want to, if you ever do want to send me anything like that, that's great. If you know how to contact me already, you've got my contact details. If not, leave a message on the channel video, and I'll get to you that way. Right. If you all want to just tell me when you're ready, then we'll get started, because you don't really want to listen to me rambling on for too long, I wouldn't have thought. So I'll just have a drink, which I recommend highly. And yeah, we'll get going. I'll go through the quiz rounds, the rounds first quickly before, as I see people saying they're ready. So the first round is current affairs. Then it's what day in the UK. Languages is next. Closing lines. Name the sport from the trophy, and then our dedicated round, the last round. And obviously I'll do the answers to the picture round, and also if you did have a go at the midweek cryptic teaser that I put on, I'll do the answers to that at the end of the quiz. If for some reason you've just tuned into this for all those answers to the midweek, then yeah, I'm sorry, I'll do those at the end. So either stay around for the quiz and have a laugh, or if you want to just get this video later and scroll all the way to the end and just get the answers for the cryptic quiz that I put out in the middle of the week. So be it. But cool. Okay, so everyone seems to be ready. First round is current affairs. Now, I will say that I pretty much do these questions on a sort of Sunday, Monday after the quiz each week. So these were done obviously nearly a week ago now. So they're kind of based on what happened last week rather than what's been happening this week. Believe it or not, there has been a few things happening in the world other than this joyous infection. So I've managed to find a few things that went on in the world other than that to ask some questions about, and some that involve good old COVID as well. We wouldn't want to miss it out, would we? So, if you're ready, round one is current affairs. And question one. A delivery of 84 tonnes of PPE was delayed on its journey to the UK from which country last week? So, a delivery of 84 tonnes of PPE was delayed on its journey to the UK from which country? And question two. Licensing rules have forced the Hartsfield House pub in Belfast to suspend its doorstep delivery of what? Let's try and say that again. Licensing rules have forced the Hatfield House pub in Belfast to suspend its doorstep delivery of what? And question three. Which artist has created rainbow art of butterfly wings to display in windows? So, which artist has created rainbow art of butterfly wings to display in windows? And question four. Which fashion retailer confirmed it would close its 60 stores with the loss of more than 900 jobs last week? So, which fashion retailer confirmed it would close its 60 stores with losses of more than 900 jobs? And question five. How much did joiner Ryan Hoyle from Rochdale win on the National Lottery's Euro Millions last week? Not sure if that's how you say his name, but how much did joiner Ryan Hoyle from Rochdale win on the National Lottery Euro Millions last week? And question six. The stars of which Channel 4 comedy will present new episodes from their homes in Huddersfield, London, and Melbourne? So, the stars of which Channel 4 comedy will present new episodes from their homes in Huddersfield, London, and Melbourne? And question 7. Who became the oldest person to hold a UK #1 single last week? So who became the oldest person to have a #1 single in the UK last week? And question number 8. Which firm's 6.2 billion merger with Dutch company Takeaway.com was cleared by the competition's watchdog? Which firm's 6.2 billion merger with Dutch company Takeaway.com was cleared by the competition's watchdog? That was question 8. And on to question 9. A zoo in which British city has welcomed 4 penguin chicks last week? So a zoo in which British city has welcomed 4 penguin chicks last week? And of course, finally, question 10. Which Welsh politician was heard swearing at a colleague during a virtual sitting of the Senedd? It's quite funny if you want to go and watch it. I'm sure we've all had a few issues with Zoom and the other likes over the last few weeks, and that one certainly had quite a big one. It's worth a watch. It's a bit of a laugh. So, which Welsh politician was heard swearing at a colleague during a virtual sitting of the Welsh Senedd last week? And that's the end of the current affairs round. Give you a moment, we'll go on to round 2, and then we'll go back for the answers to that one. Hope you're getting along all right with that. And while you're just finishing that round off, I'll explain round 2. So round 2 is what day in the UK. So I'm going to give you some kind of an annual day, an event or whatever, and I'd like to know the date that it falls on. So it's normally, with most of them, it's an actual date, but it may be something like, the 3rd Sunday after Christmas Eve or something like that. But in most of them, it's a date. So that's the idea of this round. So when you're ready, we will start round 2. And surprisingly, we start round 2 with question 1. There's a shocker. So, number 1, the Queen's official birthday. What is the date of the Queen's official birthday? And question 2, what is the date of St. Patrick's Day? Question 2, the date of St. Patrick's Day. And question 3, the date of Epiphany. What is the date that Epiphany falls on every year? And question 4 is All Saints Day. What day of the year is All Saints Day? Question 5. What day is St. Valentine's Day? 5. St. Valentine's Day. What's the date of that? And question 6. When is Burns Night? On what day of the year is Burns Night? And on to question 7. What day of the year, the date of the year, does the winter solstice normally fall on? That's question 7. Is the winter solstice normally on what date? And question 8. St. George's Day. The date for St. George's Day. Question 9. On which Sunday of which month is Father's Day? So, on which Sunday of which month is Father's Day? And finally, question 10 is St. Andrew's Day. What date is St. Andrew's Day? That's the end of the day in the UK round. I'll give you a moment to finish off those, and then you can grab your answers for the current affairs, and we'll go through those. Okay, so we'll go back to the current affairs and give you the answers for that, if you've got those to hand. So question 1. A delivery of 84 tonnes of PPE was delayed on its way from Turkey. Question 2. Licences rules forced the Hatfield House pub in Belfast to stop its doorstep deliveries of Guinness. I imagine if you want to have beer, that's fine, but Guinness, I should have thought if it's Belfast was enough of a clue. Which artist created the rainbow art butterfly wings to display in the windows? That was Damien Hirst. And the fashion retailer that confirmed it would be closing its 60 stores was Cath Kidston. Ryan Howell, he won £58 million on the Euro Millions last week. 58 and something, but 58's fine. And the Channel 4 comedy presented from their homes in Huddersfield, London and Melbourne is The Last Leg. Yeah, very lucky, Darren, yeah. Question 7. Who became the oldest UK #1 singles holder? That was, of course, Captain Tom. He got #1. He's the oldest person to ever have a UK #1. Question 8. Which firm merged with Dutch giant takeaway.com? Was Just Eat. And which city in Britain got welcomed penguins? That was Edinburgh Zoo. And number 10, the Welsh politician that was heard swearing was Vaughan Gething. Excuse my terrible Welsh pronunciation on that. So that's there. We will do the language round next, and then we'll do the answers for the what day in the UK. So I thought my Welsh pronunciation was bad. Wait until you hear my pronunciation of some of these. Not sure why I decided to do a language round. I'm terrible at languages, but you know, I imagine there's some people in the Brewster Giorgio household that are cheering right now, or probably about to tell me that I've got these all wrong. But never mind. Either way. So, question 1. Veni, vidi, vici is Latin phrase attributed to Julius Caesar. How does it translate into English? So, Veni, vidi, vici is a Latin phrase, but what does it translate to into English? And question 2. If you were eating Wurst in Germany, what would you be eating? So if you were eating Wurst in Germany, what would you be eating? And question 3. Typhoon, cummerbund, and bungalow are words which originate from which language? So typhoon, cummerbund, and bungalow are words which originate from which language? And question 4. From which language do we get musical terms such as a cappella, crescendo, and arpeggio? So from which language do we get musical terms such as a cappella, crescendo, and arpeggio? And question 5. In a French clothes shop, what would you be buying if you wanted a jupe? That's Jupe. As I say, probably pronounced it terribly. But in a French clothes shop, what would you be buying if you wanted a jupe? Jupe. And question 6. What on an Indian menu is kulfi? So what on an Indian menu is kulfi? That's Kulfi. That was question 6. And question 7. Which language is the most spoken language in the world, by number of people that it has is their native language. So the most popular language in the world, measured by the amount of people that speak it as their native language. And question 8. Carpe diem is Latin for what? Carpe diem is Latin for what? And question 9. From which language does the word futon originate? Question 9. From which language does the word futon originate? And of course, finally, question 10. Which well-known French phrase literally would translate to outside the work? So, which well-known French phrase would literally translate to outside the work? And that's the end of the language round. As I say, I'm sure Mr. Giorgio is probably swearing at his screen right now about how terrible that was, but never mind. We will go back and do the dates in a second, once you've just had time to finish that language round off. So, if you've got your answers ready for the what day in the UK round. Question 1. The Queen's official birthday is the 8th of June. And St. Patrick's Day is March the 17th. Epiphany is the 6th of January. All Saints' Day falls on the 1st of November. St. Valentine's Day is, of course, the 14th of February. Burns Night is January the 25th. The winter solstice normally falls on the 21st of December. St. George's Day is April the 23rd. Father's Day is on the 3rd Sunday in June. Just a reminder in case my children are watching. And St. Andrew's Day is on the 30th of November. Okay, we'll do the answers for the language round as well, and then we'll have a couple of minutes break, give you a chance to freshen your glasses, do whatever you need to do, and then we'll carry on with part 2. So, if you've got your language answers ready, Veni Vidi Vici is translated to I came, I saw, I conquered. A Wurst in German, of course, is a sausage. The words typhoon, cummerbund, and bungalow are believed to originate from Hindi or Urdu. The origins are not exactly sure, but it's believed to have come from there. A cappella, crescendo, and arpeggio are all from Italian. In a French clothes shop, if you wanted a jupe, it would be you'd be looking for a skirt. In an Indian restaurant menu, if you ordered kulfi, you would be getting a type of ice cream. And the most spoken language in the world by number of native speakers is Mandarin, Chinese Mandarin. Carpe diem, translate to seize the day. The word futon, question 9, comes from the Japanese. And question 10, the well-known phrase that literally would translate to outside the work is hors d'oeuvre. So that's the end of that round. As I say, we'll have a couple of minutes break, freshen your glasses, have a stretch your legs, do whatever you need to do. And we'll be back. I'm just going to dash off for a second and I will see you in 1 minute. Hello. You have to sing your own music, Dan. So I'd love to play music. I'd love to do a music round for this, but YouTube's rules on music, if you haven't got a license for it, are unbelievable, and they will cut us off in no time at all. They've got all sorts of software that picks it up. So unless someone knows a way around that, which I don't, then yeah, unfortunately, no music. I'm afraid. Sorry. And I'm not, before anyone says it, I'm not singing. So hopefully you're all right. You're all ready to go for the second half in a second. Just let me know once you are, and we will go with the next round, which is closing lines. We've done opening lines of many songs, but I thought I'd have a go at doing the closing line. See if you remember what happens right at the end of the song. Cool. Everyone seems to be ready, or at least a few people are. So I'll take that as enough for me. So, music closing lines. So I've got my answers. Have got the name of the song and the artist. It's up to you how you want to do it. Whether you want to mark yourself a point for each or half a point. I'd have said probably half a point if you can get either or if you can get both for a full point. So, question 1. The closing line of which song by which group is "All the lonely people, where do they all belong?" All the lonely people, where do they all belong? Closing line of what song and by who? And question 2. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit, and you ain't no friend of mine. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit, and you ain't no friend of mine. And question 3. You can check out any time you like, but you can never leave. You can check out any time you like, but you can never leave. And question 4. I just want you to know who I am. I just want you to know who I am. Closing line to what song and by what band? And question 5. Every claim you stake, I'll be watching you. Not too creepy, is it? Question 5. Every claim you stake, I'll be watching you. The name of the song and the group, of which that is the closing line. And question 6. Cause every little thing gonna be all right. Question 6. Cause every little thing gonna be all right. And question 7. Hold on to that feeling, streetlight people. Hold on to that feeling, streetlight people. And question 8. Everybody's gone surfing. Question 8. Everybody's gone surfing. Question 9. Teenage wasteland. They're all wasted. Teenage wasteland. They're all wasted. And number 10. Am I just paranoid or am I just stoned? Am I just paranoid or am I just stoned? Sure, it's a question many of you have asked yourself over the last few weeks. Good, so give you a minute to that and then we'll go on to the next round. Everyone's trying to sing the entire song to figure it out, to get to the end line, I expect. Cool. So the next round, when you're in a minute, when you're ready, is name the sport from the trophy. So I will give you the name of the trophy, and I'd just like the sport that you would have to compete in order to win that trophy. Pretty much what it says on the tin. Right, so if you're ready, question 1, the Stanley Cup. What sport would you have to play to win the Stanley Cup? And question 2, the America's Cup, or the Old Mug, as its actual trophy name is. But the America's Cup, what sport do you have to compete in to win the America's Cup? And question 3, the Jules Rimet. The Jules Rimet trophy will be won if you compete in what sport? And question 4, the Vince Lombardi Cup. What sport do you have to compete in to win the Vince Lombardi Cup? And question 5, the Webb Ellis Trophy or the Webb Ellis Cup. What sport do you have to compete in to win the Webb Ellis Cup? And question 6, the Venus Rosewater Dish. What sport do you have to play to win the Venus Rosewater Dish? And question 7, the Green Jacket. What sport do you have to play in order to win the Green Jacket? Question 8, the Ashes Urn. What sport wins you the Ashes Urn? And question 9, the Scorton Silver Arrow. What sport do you have to compete in to win the Scorton Silver Arrow? Which, as a little side note, is believed to be the oldest known trophy in the world. If that's any help as a clue to you what sport it is, but it's believed to be the oldest known trophy in the world. It's the Scorton Silver Arrow. And finally, the Gold Cup. What sport will you win the Gold Cup? So that's the end of that one. I shall get the closing lines round back ready for it, and if you grab those answers. once you've finished off with your sportsman, and we shall go through the closing lines. But as I say, I would probably mark it half a point for each. If you've got the name of the song and the band, you get a full point. But it's up to you. Nothing I can do about it. So, cool. So, first one, number one, All the Lonely People. Where do they all belong? That was Eleanor Rigby and the Beatles. Question two, Well, You Ain't Never Caught a Rabbit and You Ain't No Friend of Mine is Hound Dog by Elvis Presley. Question three, You Can Check Out Anytime You Like, but You Can Never Leave was Hotel California by the Eagles. Question four, I Just Want You to Know Who I Am. That was Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. And question five, Every Claim You Stake, I'll Be Watching You is Every Breath You Take by the Police. Question six, Cause Every Little Thing Gonna Be Alright was Three Little Birds by Bob Marley. Hold On to That Feeling, Starlight People. That's question seven. That was Don't Stop Believing by Journey. Question eight, Everyone's Gone Surfing, Surfing USA by the Beach Boys. And question nine, Teenage Wasteland, They're All Wasted was Baba O'Reilly by The Who. And finally, Am I Just Paranoid or Am I Just Stoned was Basket Case by Green Day. Hopefully you did all right with that one. So we are on to our final round of the evening. As always, our round dedicated to somebody or people that are doing an incredible job at the moment. And so this week is dedicated to all of our retail workers, our delivery drivers, shop assistants, people that are going in day and night to keep the supermarket stocked for us, so we've got food to eat, delivering things to our doors if we can't get out, and so on and so forth. So that's who we're saying a big thank you for today. Oh no, I think I might have just given away an answer to one of the questions. So yeah, so this one is all about retail in some form or another, and it's dedicated to all of them as a thank you. So question one. In 2012, what did Sainsbury's do to their toilet rolls in order to cut their carbon footprint and take up to 500 delivery lorries, off the road each year? So in 2012, what did Sainsbury's do to their toilet roll in order to cut their carbon footprint and take up to 500 delivery lorries off the road each year? And question two. A Rome supermarket set up for the needy of the city receives over €1 million a year from which famous fountain in the city? So a Rome supermarket set up for the needy of the city receives over €1 million a year from which famous fountain? And question three. According to the current YouGov poll, which supermarket brand is regarded as the most popular in the UK? According to a current YouGov poll, Which supermarket brand is regarded as the most popular in the UK? And question 4. Which supermarket said for the first time they would not be selling fireworks last November? Question 4 again. Which supermarket said for the first time they would not be selling fireworks last November? And question 5. In January 2009, a well-known high street store closed all its shops after nearly 100 years of trading in the UK. What was the name of the shop? In January 2009, a well-known high street store closed all of its shops after nearly 100 years of trading in the UK. But what was the name of the shop? Question 6. Who is famously, but incorrectly, credited with calling the British a nation of shopkeepers? Question 6. Who is famously, but incorrectly, credited with calling the British a nation of shopkeepers? And question 7. In which decade did the sell-by date come into common use? Was it the 1950s, the 1960s, or the 1970s? So in which decade did the sell-by date come into common use? The 50s, 60s, or 70s? And question 8. All the employees of John Lewis are also something else. What is it? If you know any employees of John Lewis and you have certain thoughts about them, that's probably not the answer I'm looking for. But all the employees of John Lewis are also something else. What is it? And question 9. Which of these famous shops opened first? Is it the Co-op, Boots, or Sainsbury's? So which of those shops opened first? The Co-op, Boots, or Sainsbury's? And of course, question 10 on our final round, our dedicated round, we all know the answer to. What do we need to say thank you to all the retail staff and everyone else working day and night to keep the shelves stocked and the nation fed? And that is the end of that round and the end of the quiz, basically, with the exception of the answers for what we had left and the picture round. Hopefully, you've done all right with that. And if anyone bothered to do the midweek teaser, I'll go through the answers for that as well. So we'll go back to the trophy answers. once you're ready, once you've had a couple of minutes just to finish off your retail workers round, which I should have thought you would. And so if you grab your answers for the sporting cups, and we'll go through those. So number 1, the Stanley Cup is played for in the sport of ice hockey. And number 2, the America's Cup is yachting. Number 3, the Jules Rimet is football. If there's any Americans watching, that's what we call soccer, football, real game. This is your version. The Vince Lombardi Trophy is American football for the Super Bowl. The number 5, the Webb Ellis Trophy, is Rugby Union, the World Cup, the Rugby Union World Cup. And question 6, the Venus Rosewater Dish is tennis. It's the Wimbledon Ladies Trophy. The green jacket, of course, is golf, the Masters. And 8, obviously, the Ashes is for cricket. And question 9, the Scorton Silver Arrow is for archery. Not as complicated as it sounds, fairly obvious if you think about it. But yeah, believed to be the oldest trophy ever given out. I think about 1600s they started giving that out, I believe. And finally, the Gold Cup is horse racing. That's that one. Give you a second to top that up, and then we'll do the answers for the retail round. So, the retail round. Question 1. In 2012, Sainsbury's shrunk the middle of their toilet rolls to make them smaller. They didn't take any sheets of paper away. They just made the cardboard middle smaller, and in order to cut their carbon footprint. The supermarket in Rome, which receives over €1 million every year, they get all the donations, all the money that's thrown into the Trevi Fountain in Rome. Question 3. According to the YouGov poll, Aldi is the most popular supermarket in the UK at the moment. And question 4. Which supermarket said it would stop selling fireworks last November? That was Sainsbury's. And question 5, I'm assuming you got this right down, providing, of course, you work for Woolworths, or used to work for Woolworths, because they are the ones that closed in 2009. And question 6, the person who was famously but incorrectly credited with saying that all British are a nation of shopkeepers was Napoleon. And question 7, in which decade did the sell-by date come into common use? It was the 1970s. Question 8, all employees of John Lewis are also all partners in the business. However you want to word, however you answer that, partners, shareholders, whatever you like. But yeah, they are all members of or partners in the business of John Lewis. And question 9, which of these shops was opened first? The Co-op, Boots, or Sainsbury's? It was actually the Co-op in 1844 in Rochdale. And of course, finally, a big thank you is what we need to say to everybody working incredibly hard to try and keep everything open and everyone fed and the world still just about turning. So, hopefully you did all right with this week's quiz. We'll go on to the picture round now. If you've got that sorted, hopefully you managed to do that. And I will give you the answers for it in a second. Deep breath, because this is the bit I hate the most, going for all these answers at the end. I think I need a drink for it. Right, so the picture round, the cartoon characters. Number 1 was the Cookie Monster. Number 2 was Olaf. Number 3 was Jasmine. Number 4 was Chucky. Number 5 was Rasta Mouse. Number 6, that was Michelangelo. Number 7 was Dora the Explorer. Number 8 is Finn. Number 9 was Fred Flintstone. Number 10 was Patrick. Number 11 was Goofy. Number 12 was Peppa Pig. Number 13, Scooby-Doo. Number 14, Bugs Bunny. Number 15, Homer Simpson. Number 16, Woody. Number 17, Danger Mouse. Number 18, Pikachu. Number 19, Garfield. And number 20, Clifford, the big red dog. Okay, so that's basically the end of it. I'll give you if you did do the cryptic one, I will go through that in just a second. It's going to take a bit of explaining on that one. If you're not going to stay around for the cryptic clue, thanks very much. Thank you. Assuming you want to do this again next week, I'll do one. I'll be here. If no one turns up, then I'll get the hint that everyone's had enough of it. But assuming that's not the case, I shall see you next week. If you are sticking around for the answers to the cryptic teaser, cool. We shall have a go at that, and I'll go through the answers. Right, so the cryptic clues I put out, or the cryptic teaser I put out on Wednesday. If you don't do cryptic crosswords, I can appreciate it's quite tricky. I mean, I don't either, but it seemed obvious to me once I knew the answers. So, but I appreciate it might have been quite tricky. So, the number 1, a small version of a golf club. Remember, these were all sort of celebrities, film stars. So, a small version of a golf club is a mini driver. So, mini driver. Legend of someone's last wishes. Well, a last wishes would be a will, and a legend is a myth. So, Will Smith. Blossoming in Florida, Orlando Bloom. Number 4, continued sketching Welsh town, Drew Barrymore. And question 5, formal dance for securing a toilet is Lucille Ball. Lucille Ball, a formal dance. Question 6, fighting amidst telecoms group, Warren Beatty. So a war between BT, Warren Beatty. Question 7, lug monetary aid. You lug, you carry, and a monetary aid would be a grant. So carry grant. Question 8, ban items of women's underwear and have a go with bunker filling. Barbara Streisand. Bras, try sand. Barbara Streisand. Question 9, pinch gap before inquiring about maturity. Nicolas Cage. Nick. And then we were on to bands. Legend of Zelda character in a recreation area. So Lincoln Park. That's not real medicine. Placebo. Question 3, musicians performing U-turns at night. Orchestral manoeuvres in the dark. Question 4, young people just moved in. New kids on the block. Question 5, these might fly in an argument. Sparks. Question 6. Mr. Goring's crabs. Herman's hermits. Question 7. They'll never pick up supermodel Kate. Rolling Stone. Or Rolling Stones, should I say. The next, sorry, it's not 8. This next one. Lads from the Alley was Backstreet Boys. I was 17. Sorry. And question 18. You need a source of inspiration is a muse. And 19, in charge of the wireless, Radiohead. And finally, the TV cryptic clues, TV shows. Is it football, rugby, cricket, or tennis? A question of sport. Sounds like Dad is either lazy or out of work. Pop Idol. 22, you usually do this at the January sales. Bargain hunt. 23, the kind of cold snap usually tells you winter's on the way. A touch of frost. 24, how Dad should be made to feel on Father's Day. Top of the pops. 25, a spectator who prefers not to be heard is a silent witness. 26, ignore the late 70s group. Never mind the Buzzcocks. 27, what the proprietor of The Guardian might say to increase business. Have I got news for you? 28, something William could settle perhaps. The bill. And 29, a crowning event down our way is Coronation Street. So, hope you enjoyed all that. I know they were quite hard, weren't they? Sorry, but you did have a whole half a week to figure them out. So, otherwise, hope everyone's good. Hope they've had a good week. I hope they're staying safe. Hope everyone's all right. Hope you had a good time tonight. And I hope to see you later. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. All of that. Try not to go too mad. Thanks very much. See you later.